What's the best thing about wood?
Best thing about wood? There's lots of good things about wood, but I quite like just touching it. It's very tactile and it's beautiful. I mean, it's like people use it to make beautiful furniture. The best thing, I mean, there's so many good things, but the fact it can be shaped to make beautiful objects, but also, of course, it can be used in a sort of very industrial context to make bridges and houses, and so it can be very functional as well as very beautiful. So, and of course, it's natural, and yeah, that's what I think. Yeah. What about you?
I mean, likewise. I mean, it's a kind of a very versatile material, but then it comes from, it's a renewable source. I mean, it's the only material that we really have in large quantities that is renewable. We can do so much with it, and I think for me one of the great maybe the shame about wood in one sense is that we undervalue it. I mean, you've already said how nice it is, tactile, the workability, the fact that you can make large structures from it, all these kind of things. You would think this would be kind of the most valuable material on earth, and yet we don't treat it like that. I mean, it's somehow a little bit strange, I think, to my way of thinking, that we don't value.
We're a funny lot, humans.
We are.
Things we think are important.
Yeah, exactly.
We're getting on some philosophy here.
Yeah, we should maybe clear.
It's quite a simple question, really.
Yeah.
Let's stick to the boundaries.
I think if you'd ask me what's the best thing about it, is the fact that it's a natural material, and I think the fact that it is so kind of heterogeneous and diverse, and it's never, no two pieces are ever the same. So you have to think a little bit more about how you use it.
I don't know if you noticed, but we've got some there, and I've just been looking at it all the time you've been talking, because it's nice to look at.
Exactly. Yeah, it's good. So, okay.
That'll do for that one.
I think for that one, yeah. Okay. What is the worst thing about wood that you truly hate?
That I truly hate. Let's be honest now. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, it does burn.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
If you have large sections of timber, they will char, and that charring rate it's pretty predictable. So if you look at fire doors, they're made of wood, aren't they? Which you think, well, that's a bit counterintuitive, but it's because it has a known charring rate. Yeah. So, yeah, it burns. That can be disadvantageous. It's quite nice having a wood fire in the winter, of course. I think rot, decay, these sorts of things are obviously the things that can be most problematic, the things that are most irritating and annoying. I mean, you can use preservatives to deal with that, and we have more modern technologies like wood modification, but quite honestly, the number of times I look at a building, and I'm sure you'll agree, and you go, yes, well, that's going to decay because somebody's created a water trap or some such thing. More 9 times out of 10, it's bad design. And that really annoys me. Yeah, really annoys me.
Absolutely, likewise. Yeah, I think it's kind of. I think it speaks a little bit about kind of not quite understanding the material. I think it's really important. I mean, we're just talking a little bit about wood and its attributes. I think that if we understood it as a material a little bit better, then I think that would be a very good thing. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I don't think there's any really bad thing about wood. It's just how we utilise it, and if we utilise it intelligently, then we can avoid things to a large extent like decay and some of the dimensional changes that can be, of course, a little bit problematic. But hey, it's a natural material.
Yeah, that's the problem. People are so used to these days with mineral based or metal based or polymer based materials that don't behave in the way that wood does. When they do use wood, they don't understand it anymore.
We're not very good at dealing with kind of things that are not very, very homogeneous. We have to have this.
Do you think there's a bit of laziness there involved?
I think there probably is, and of course, as we develop kind of our technology, then the standards and regulations have come into play for very good reason to prevent accidents happening, but of course that does then put a lot of it creates kind of other layers of difficulty for utilising a material that is inherently very variable. So, but it can be dealt with. Yeah. Okay.
Forgot what the question was now.
So do I. You truly hate.
What was the worst thing?
What do you truly hate? Well, okay.
I think we've answered.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, so maybe the last one in this section. In what application would you always use wood in your home for, and why?
That's a tricky one. Right, yes. Well, floor joists and roof joists, things like that, where, I mean, don't want to sound like we're kind of doing the two-man adverts for wood, but it's got a very high strength to weight ratio, which means you can build spanning structures which don't take up a lot of weight and are very efficient. And like, no matter how many, particularly in the housing sector, how many other materials might be used, mineral-based materials, other high-energy, high-impact materials that might be used, you very often find timber is still used. I remember doing a study not that long ago looking at the carbon benefits of using timber, and even in the high mineral based houses that we were studying, there's still quite a bit, surprising amount of timber for these very good reasons, that it has a very high strength to weight ratio. Yeah. It's a very efficient material for spanning distances. What do you think? I mean, I've not talked about aesthetics here, but
no, I mean, of course, the aesthetics, I think, is an important thing. I mean, and also I think that the fact that I mean, you talked about the structural properties, but we also know that wood, it loves moisture, and so it interacts very well with the interior environment. So if you have a very high humidity, then the wood will tend to absorb the humidity, so that will lower the relative humidity inside, which makes the place feel more comfortable, and maybe it'll even make it a healthier environment. I mean, the research on this isn't conclusive, but there's enough, I think, to suggest that it's a good thing.
Well, your house is nice and cosy. It's made of logs and
absolutely most comfortable house, and
wood shavings in the roof.
And after
it's
having
quiet as well.
And after having lived in old stone houses in the UK, I know the comparison. I think I would rather live in a log house, I have to say, for exactly that reason.
Yeah, we have a stone house, and it's really nice and cool in the summer, but it's also very cool in the winter. So.
Yeah. And surprisingly, even with the weather we have now, the log house is actually fairly cool in the summer as well. Surprisingly, yeah. And I think the aesthetics, I think that's a really important thing. Interesting, we were doing a study quite recently looking at the amount of wood and therefore carbon stored in different building types, and even in kind of traditional masonry construction, yes, as you say, with the floors and the roof structures, there is indeed quite a lot of timber there, and that's, I think we'll probably talk about this more later, but it's also a valuable resource that we can then utilise into the future as well. Yeah. So we shouldn't kind of think of old buildings as just something that we throw all the materials away, but we could actually maybe think about what could we do with these good structural materials.
Yes.
Yeah.